Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mariah Sanctuary. I'm Mariah. Today's live stream is on the topic of Matthew Urango. The information below came from the Face website in the article Remembering Cola Boy, the Disabled Disco Innovator. Quit to Play Chess, the second album by Matthew Urango, aka Cola Boy, is one of this year's best dance records. Packed with bulbous, funky, and funny anthems, it's a defining document for one of indie pop's underground stars. It was his final record. Matthew passed away in 2024 at the age of 34. The Californian musician began releasing music under the alias Cola Boy in 2018, quickly attracting attention thanks to his idiosyncratic style, charming performances, and off-kilter production methods. He collaborated with the Avalanches and Airs Nicholas Godin, I think it's say, or Godin, and forged strong friendships with MGMT, Andrew Van Wingarden, and the Argentinian indie musician Tal Juan. When Matthew was making Quit to Play Chess, he felt he was just getting started. Matthew was pumped on this, and he was recording other things. He couldn't stop, said his twin brother, Marcus Urango. This album is so freaking good, but to him, it was like, all right, cool, this is done. What's next? He was hungry. Matthew was from Oxnard, a Latino majority farming town in California that has politics and music in its bones. Famed activist Cesar Chavez grew up there, as did contemporary music icons. I never heard of these, so sorry if I say them wrong. I think it's Adlib and Anderson Paak. And I'm so sorry if I said it wrong because I am dyslexic. And I also have anxiety, and I also have other things on top of my dyslexia. I am autistic and an ADHD. But it says the Urangos were a big multiracial family. So they're Black, Mexican, Spanish, Native American, Portuguese, and they have all of these things. It says Marcus, which is his twin brother. Where are we at? Matthew was born with spina bifida. This one I'm going to probably say wrong, just sorry for advance. I think it's kypholis, and sorry for that because I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. And then we have he had scoliosis and used a prosthetic leg. There was lots of love and people around, and everyone was supportive of him being disabled, said Marcus. They had a family that cared and showed him a lot. Certain parts, I skipped a part. Even where he faced a lot of strife with other people not understanding him, certain parts of society definitely let people like him slip through the cracks. Now that particular statement is sad. I don't like that at all. Matthew had an uncle who was intent on making him a musician, giving him a toy DJ disc and guitars, and at one point a miniature drum kit. Knowing that part of this was to piss off my dad, that makes me laugh. Sorry. A bit like, here's some more music for your house. Hope you are happy with it, said Marcus. The early misadventures in toy music sparked something in Matthew. who by high school was teaching himself to play guitar in a way that suited him, given that ordinary methods of playing did not accommodate his disability. Like so many SoCal teenagers before him, Matthew's first journey into music was through punk, a scene that prioritized intuition and sentiment over technical prowess. He really lucked out with the fact that he fell into punk, which is in a lot of ways, at its best, what is about acceptance and being there for everyone, says Marcus. There definitely was something, sorry, there was definitely, there's definitely was still that element in punk, in the punk scene that was little discriminatory and treated him poorly. But there was a lot more people that supported him. I think that if he had gone into a different path, it might have been harder for him. But he was in the perfect environment for himself to grow. Through punk and especially through learning the acro-punk scenes like Burma and in places like Burma and Ghana, Matthew started developing a political consciousness, eventually becoming an organizer in his 20s for two local groups, prioritizing anti-crease thinking and POC liberation, which stands for people of color. According to Marcus, Matthew never really gave up punk, even writing punk songs with his friends as he was working on Quit to Play Chess. But after playing in power violent bands like El Mariachi in his early 20s, he started posting disco-inspired songs as Cola Boy online, impressing Cesar, I think his name is Vogue. I'm so sorry if it's pronounced wrong. It's like Vogue with a W in the beginning, so I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry. At the French label Record Makers, which was co-founded by Air. I stumbled across his SoundCloud, thinking that he might be a musician from the 70s. His family was posting old music. I think that's quite interesting. It sounded like nothing I'd ever heard of at that time. It felt very timeless, says Cesar. Cesar passed the music to Record Makers co-founder, I think the name is Tessar de Croix. Yeah, I'm not French. Sorry for if I butchered that. Who was able to see one of Cola Boy's early performances in Los Angeles. It was basically at an abandoned house. He was playing in what used to be a living room on stage with a computer dancing, and his friends were yelling, and there was no alcohol served. Tessiar, recalls. He had such a great presence. He was a very kind guy. He knew of the label. He had spotted a video we had released years before. Signing Cola Boy to Tessar was easy because he told me he had sent his music to many American labels and barely had one response. No one cared, you know. Matthew's debut, Cola Boy's EP. 2018's Black Bogey Neon was conceptualized as a soundtrack for a fictional club for disabled people, and its lush combination of high-tone disco and synth pop was a tonic for anyone who craves serious music that still sounded fun. I wish I had known about this guy before he died. Dang. Because he sounded like a cool guy. That's just my side note. Around the time of the EP's release, MGMT Van Wingarden discovered Cola Boy through a SoundCloud thrall. It took a hold of me in a way where it just felt like there was an energy behind it, almost like there was a whole scene and movement that was going on, he says. From the first listen, you could just hear the sense of love and community in the music. That's rare when I listen to new music, sadly. MGMT invited Cola Boy to support them on the tour in 2018, and Matthew and Van Wingarden immediately hit it off, eventually becoming close friends. He he came backstage and almost immediately he was riffing with the whole band. Van Garden says it became like an instant friendship. We just started goofing off, and it didn't stop for the whole tour. That's like a lifelong like friend right there. Sadly, we don't know what would have became of it because he is no longer here. But it was Cola Boy's biggest tour to date. Although we hadn't known, you wouldn't have known that from watching. On High Scooby. Opening for a bigger artist is an intimidating experience, and I was impressed that he went balls out. That's what it says, and was super confident. He did his thing, and people loved it. I was impressed with his confidence and swagger. Honestly, that is amazing because typically that's really hard for someone that's really new starting. I'm not saying that people don't. Some people don't have it immediately when they first start. That's really interesting to hear. Which tells me he had the drive and passion for what he was going for. At least that's my opinion. The sense of love is what drew Avalanche's Tony D. Blassie and Robbie Chatter to Cola Boy. We were always effing around. Even if we were talking about more serious things, he'd always be making us laugh as well, said Robbie. The Avalanches first worked with Cola Boy on We Go On, a sublime highlight from their 2020 album, We Will Always Love You. They maintained a strong friendship with him, eventually collaborating production to Don't Forget Your Neighborhood, a winsome piano house track that opens Kobe Boys 2021 for 2021 debut album, Prosthetic Boombox. You said what's the topic? Today's topic is on Matthew Urango. Where was I at? The first time we met him, it was like we had known him for our whole lives, said D. Blassie. This sounds corny, but we just met, and I think before we had even recorded anything or music, we sat there just spoke for 2 hours. It was like old friends reuniting. He was like one of my best friends. Prosthetic Boombox, which also featured collaborations with Van Wintergarden, the Avalanches, and Nicholas. Well, I'm going over who he is. Nicholas Godin was met with widespread acclaim. Matthew sung about his disabilities on Kid Born in Space. I heard them making fun of my voice, but I keep moving forward. And his love of his community on Don't Forget Your Neighborhood. Fight for your town and don't let go. Dude, he seemed like a cool dang guy. Dang. In Matthew's mind, these songs spread awareness about causes that were near to his heart. In the minds of some of the organizers, Matthew hung out in Oxnard. He was breaking arbitrary, unspoken laws of their groups. Some people definitely were intending his music and his reach to be used strictly for their benefit. And there were people who did not like the idea of the attention he was getting, says Margaret. It was like, oh, you said this in an interview, you said it wrong. Now you're gonna have to do all this work to make it up and write about why you were wrong. You're literally cutting into a time when he could be making actual music. Cesar Wong shared the same concerns. For some time, we weren't hearing from him so much because he was working and he was completely burnt out, he says. He was giving a lot to that part of his life. Eventually, Matthew began to distance himself from these activists, realizing that they were detrimental to his mental health and his career. He named Quit to Play Chess in reference to French iconoclast Michel, I think his name is Michel Duchamp, who famously stepped away from his popular art in order to focus on chess, which he considered more pure than art. The album name was his way of saying, "I quit politics to prioritize music," said Mark Tessier de Croix. He really wanted something big to happen in his career. Quit to Play Chess is a bittersweet album, but it is as great a final document as anyone could ask for. An album perfect for whiling away summer hours with friends and loved ones. This album, he was just focused on making good music and being himself, said Marcus. It was about fun. Not every line has to be political. They can just be good and speak to his soul. Today's planned video will be on the topic of postpartum depression, and it will be released today at 6 p.m. Eastern. The next fun unscripted live stream will be on Monday, July 14th at 4 p.m. Eastern. And the next scripted live stream will be on Saturday, July 19th at noon Eastern. And it'll be on the topic of Deaf Olympics. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye.